I start talking and I got no audio. And I'm crackling. Why am I crackling? Oh, good old wonderful technical difficulties right off the bat. I hit the wrong button. I got crinkling and crackling. I think I got that taken care of. I was all excited for my intro and I fucked it up. I need more go juice. Let's get this going. Prost to Sunday morning, apparently. Happy, let's see, August 30th, 2020. I hope everybody's doing well so far. Technical difficulties aside, I'm doing okay. I felt really crappy yesterday. I didn't have a good day yesterday. I was really tired all day. Didn't feel good. Went to bed really early. Um, I think I slept like 12 hours. So I seem to be better now, I think. So that's good. Either way, I still would have probably done the show, but I don't know. I could have whined about it and not done it. I don't know. Who gives a shit? No one's listening anyways. I'm gonna keep saying that, even though if somehow I get like 50 people to listen, or if I get 500 people to listen, or 1,000, I'm still gonna say no one listens. So that's just how I roll. Okay, a couple things over the week here that happened. August 27th was a big, busy day for music, in the history of music, I should say. Pearl Jam, um, they released not one but two albums on August 27th. Obviously, not the same day, which it still could be done, but you know. Let's see. Pearl Jam 10 came out in 1991. One of my favorite records, one of my records that inspires me. Inspires me every time I listen to it, and it inspired me back then. One of my favorite albums, period. And then I don't really have a top whatever songs list because it would be ever changing. But whatever that list is, Even Flow is on that list because every time I hear it, I don't know how many times I've heard that song. I've heard that song thousands and thousands, and every time still gets me jacked up, still gets me excited. I love that song. So that just came out not that long ago. And then, not that long ago. Okay. Jesus. I'm losing my shit. And then also, No Code came out in 1996, I believe. Um, I wasn't a huge fan of that album, but I haven't revisited it in a long time either. So maybe that'll be something that I do eventually at some point in life. Also, Breaking Benjamin Saturate came out in 2002. So 18 years ago. Breaking Benjamin debuted on the national scale. I actually wasn't a fan of them really at the beginning. I don't know if I just missed it. I very well could have, because at that point I wasn't in that space, really, that musical space of, like, I don't know if you'd call it metal, hard rock, whatever. It wasn't really in my vocabulary. I was aiming in other directions. So, but I've grown to love it. Um, that's the starting off. There's some really good songs on there, obviously, but there's not. It's not quite as strong as some of their other ones. Like, any of them. Really, that's probably one of the weakest ones. But there are some really cool shit on there, like Polyamorous is kick ass. I know all those songs. I still love all those songs, but compared to what came afterwards, it's not quite as strong, but that's okay. And then on the 27th, also 30 years since Stevie Ray Vaughan died. He actually went down in a helicopter crash not that far away from where I work, but in southeastern Wisconsin, here in East Troy. If I remember right, Eric Clapton was supposed to be on that helicopter, but he decided not to take it. So strange how things, small details at the time, is, oh, you take the helicopter, I don't want to, whatever it may be, change history. It's like when the plane crash went down, the plane crash happened with Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and stuff like that. Waylon Jennings was actually supposed to be on that plane, but he lost a bet. Waylon Jennings was a young man at that point. He played with Buddy Holly. He was the bass player in Buddy Holly's band. So he was like 17 or 18 years old. He was super young, and he lost a bet. And the reason that they were taking the plane is because their heat on their bus stopped working. So they were all miserable. So Buddy Holly chartered a plane to get them to wherever they were going, Minnesota somewhere. It was just uber cold, And Waylon Jennings didn't get on the plane. And, most of us know the story, or bits of it at least, where that plane ride didn't last very long. And it went down, and, all those people passed away in that plane. So it changed history, but it could have changed more history, and it also could have changed history that we didn't even know was going to happen. If Waylon Jennings would have passed away, we wouldn't have had any of that stuff. We wouldn't even know who Waylon Jennings was. So just how things happen. And, in this case with Stevie Ray Vaughan, he was, doing coke and all sorts of stuff and really killing himself. And he had just gotten clean. And then, goes down in a helicopter crash. So who knows what would have happened in his history, as well as for our musical history, who would have known? Who knows what would have happened? I don't have any idea. And none of us do. It's sad things that happen, especially as he was turning his career around. And, he was a great artist, obviously, as a super influential guitar player and songwriter. So 30 years ago that happened. And then we just learned on Friday, sorry for being a little bit of a bummer here to start, but I feel it's I got to get it out of the way here. Friday, we learned that Chadwick Boseman, who played Jackie Robinson in 42, as well as he was the Black Panther in the Marvel movies, he passed away from cancer. He's been battling cancer for 4 years, and I never heard about it. And what of the opinion of a lot of people that I've read and stuff is they didn't know about it either. So he was able to keep that quiet. And if you look at like the IMDb or whatever, from 2016, he was in like 10 acting credits or something like that. So he's got cancer, and there's all sorts of these videos and photos and stories coming out of him visiting kids with cancer, and them into the Marvel verse and all that stuff. He's a real life superhero, and he's coming there to help these kids get through their day while he's battling cancer, and he and no one knew. It's wild. So he was a fantastic actor. Obviously, I'm a Marvel movies fan. I got all sorts of Marvel Funkos up here all over. That's pretty much how I roll. Some movies, some other stuff, but mostly Marvel stuff. So it's a big loss, I think, not only for like the Marvel universe, the people who like the movies, like Black Panther, but also it's a loss to the world, you know, because he really did seem like he was a really excellent man. He was intelligent and he did a lot of things for other people. So, you know, what else? What else can I say? I mean, you know, obviously I didn't know the man, but just what I see, he seemed like an excellent human being. So, rest in peace, rest in power, Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther. All right, let's bring it up here a little bit. I just sorry I had to. I felt I needed to get a couple of those things out of the way. What I want to talk about today is my favorite, not the all-time favorites. This isn't going to be in any particular order, but I want to talk about my favorite first songs on records. You know, I remember, you know, watching High Fidelity, that movie with John Cusack. You know, they said top side one, song ones, same idea, only, you know, I mean, vinyls are making a comeback, but that isn't the only medium, you know. So I want to talk about my favorite song ones on albums. They don't necessarily have to be um, like my favorite albums, even though most, you know, most of them are, but my favorite songs on records. So there really is only a few elements to what makes a song great, just as far as listening to it. Obviously, there's plenty of ways to break down why it's great, why it may do this, why it may do that, you know. But the main element is if the song is great to you. It's all that really matters. We're only talking about this on a purely singular level. You know, these are just my favorite songs on records. Doesn't have to be anybody else's. And you may disagree, you may not know a lot of these songs, and that's fine. That's great. I hope the songs that you don't know, you go out and listen. Because they're, you know, the records are fantastic, you know, in my opinion. But what makes a song great is what makes you react in whatever way. Just as if you get a reaction to it, whether it be emotionally, physically, you know, you want to jump around, whatever, or it just like affects your soul, you know, which I guess would be emotionally too. But, you know, it goes to some place where you can't quite figure out why exactly you have a reaction, but you have a reaction regardless. So that's that's pretty much what makes a song great. The nuts and bolts of it, anyways. Now, what makes a first song great? Obviously, it needs the ingredient that I listed or said. You know, it needs to emote a certain reaction from you. It also is gives you an insight in what the rest of the album is. It's a microcosm, but it is a indicator on where we're going. It also sets up the message as to what the artist is trying to convey. You know, a lot of times when you put an album together, there's an ebb and flow to it, and you have to, with the first song on the record, you have to say something right away. You have to kind of emote what you're about. You know, you can't have a soft song and then the rest of the album be heavy. Just in turn, you also can't have start with a heavy song and then the rest are ballads. It just doesn't work that way. That people, you'll lose people and people won't believe what you're trying to say. For me, the song would start out with something a little different, something that you wouldn't put in every song, but it's great for the start of an album. Uh, whether it be just, like I said, something different, an awesome riff, a drum part, just for example, take the Foo Fighters self-titled first album. I talked about it, whatever, a month ago or something like that. How the album starts is you hear the guitar getting plugged into the jack. So you get a little bit of that noise and then the song starts. That's not really something that you would put, you know, before song 6. You could, and there's been plenty of bands, a lot of hip hop artists put like interludes and stuff like that, but those aren't intros. And also, now that reminds me, I did not include any records that had intros, like dedicated intros. So these albums and songs are just the straight number ones. There's no intros, intro track. There's none of that. So there was a lot of albums I was like, oh man, that's killer. Intro track. Shit. Can't do that. So I negated those. So in no particular order. So this isn't like a 1 through how many ever I have. I don't know exactly how many I have. I didn't count. But, so here we go. Here's what we're going to start with. My first one on my list is A Day to Remember, Homesick, 2009, Downfall of Us All. Now, if you're a fan of A Day to Remember, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It has a very unique intro where it's like da 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 da. It's like a gang vocal, and then all of a sudden it blasts into the riff with the same rhythmic, awesome first riff, and it's completely different from what you'd hear. You can't do that in the beginning of song 10 again. So that's my list. That's my number one on my list that I've written down, not in any order. Okay. Okay, the next one, Deftones, 1997's Around the Fur, My Own Summer, Shove It. Now this one to kick with that awesome sounding drum fill, super easy, and then into that killer riff. It's the main riff of the song. It blasts right into it. Chino gives it a little bit of breathing room before he starts singing, as well as Chi did on the bass. But killer opener. Killer opener nonetheless. Okay, the next one I have is Avenged Sevenfold, off self-titled Avenged Sevenfold album, 2007, critical acclaim. Starts with an organ. They don't have a full-time organist in their group, so, but they also on this album did a lot of experimentation, and it's actually my favorite Avenged Sevenfold album. Some of the other things after that I could kind of go without, but that's my own personal shit. That's not what we're here for on this occasion. But it starts out with the organ, and then the rest of the band starts coming in with these hits, and it's just a awesome intro. It sets up the rest of the album, how it's going to go. Just great start here. So, all right, my next one, I haven't talked a whole lot about country music too often. I'm a few years, I guess, into country music. So, let's see. Let's change this. Sorry. Just give me 1 second. I'm getting a little noisy here. I apologize. I'm only a few years into country music. So I don't know all the ins and outs, but I'm learning. But one of my favorites is Dwight Yoakam. And this comes off his first record, 1986, Guitars, Cadillacs, etc., etc. It's Honky Tonk Man. It's a cover. But this has a acoustic guitar intro. This is really the only song in his whole catalog that has an acoustic guitar intro, and it's kind of like it's a melody line lead-ish, but this is the only song that it has that. And later on in the song, there's the middle part where he kind of plays the lead guitar on the acoustic, but this is the only time you ever hear it in his whole catalog, and it's the first song that he released, major labels. So it's a really cool intro, nice melody to it, and then obviously a great song for a great artist. Eve 6, another one probably might not have seen coming, but this one is off Horoscope, 2000's Horoscope, easy enough for me to say. This one is Rescue. It starts out with drums and guitar, and then the bass comes in, but then that breaks down because it's basically just an intro for the song. I don't remember hearing this riff and this part anywhere else in the song, so I'm pretty sure it's kind of like just the great intro to the song, and then it goes into like a dance beat. And if you are a fan of Eve 6, you will kind of know that that's where they went. A little more danceable. You know, their self-titled record came out and they were more pop rock, I guess. And the pop element always stayed, but they started getting a little bit more dance. You know, there's dance, there's a little bit of synth, stuff like that, you know, and this song ushered that in because their previous album really didn't have any of it. So, new direction for the band. Hey, this is what we're doing now. You know, you can stay if you want, go if you please, you know. Finger 11, another band you probably didn't hear too much of besides Paralyzer, which sorry for that, but Finger 11's first two albums were amazing. I enjoy them to this day. Give them a listen, you know, on a relatively regular basis. So Tip was their first record, 1997. The song's called Quicksand, and it's got this super sweet drum fill groove to it. And you'll just have to go and listen to it. You can, you know, it's on YouTube, you know, just like anything else. It's on the interwebs, if you will. So go and check that out. It's a really sweet drum groove, and then into a great song, into a great album, really. It's a fantastic album. You know, and then their follow-up to this is also awesome. So my next one is going to be 311. 311 Music, 1993's music. Song is Welcome. And there is just an awesome snare roll, just like what Chad Sexton would do. You know, it sounds like 311 right away. His drum work sounds, you know, it's got the same feel and same sound as it did from then till now. Snare roll into an awesome groove. You know, you're instantly bobbing your head, and you wanna do some dancing. I just want to dance. All right, Foo Fighters. I know I've mentioned Foo Fighters quite a bit on the show, but whatever. They're one of the greatest bands of the last 25 years, so, and I'm a fan. But anyways, this one is off Wasting Light, 2011. Song is called Bridge Burning, and it starts off really simple with guitar harmonics. It, you know, like Dave Grohl often does, they are like a percussive element, and then the melody and the main riff of the song develops around these guitar harmonics. But that's how the song starts. It's an interesting way, different, you know, looking for different or cool. So both. 4 Years Strong, Enemy of the State, 2010. What a great name. They have great names for their songs, but this one is "It Must Really Suck to Be 4 Years Strong Right Now," and obviously it didn't, and obviously it wouldn't. But it starts out as just an awesome riff, super tight uh, drums and bass that come into it soon after, with hits, but just a sick ass fucking riff. It's really heavy and not a chug chug kind of way. Really cool. So we're gonna go System of a Down. System of a Down is the album, the self-titled album, 1998. Sweet Pea. Guitar harmonics just goes. It sounds like a video game, you know, and then all of a sudden it goes into heavy ass shit. I remember driving around with my buddies in my Chevy Blazer with my subwoofers in the back, jamming this song. We put it in because we had heard Sugar. I think it was probably MTV's fault. I'm pretty sure it was. They played on 120 minutes or whatever, something of that sort. So we heard Sugar, and that's awesome. We were totally all in on that. So I went and bought the album, put it in, and you just hear, this video game sounding thing with the harmonics. And then heavy as shit. It's awesome. So those are great memories, but that's one of my favorite intros. Obviously I'm talking about it right now. Then we got Incubus. This is off 1997 Science. It's Redefined. If you don't listen closely, you just think it's a little bit of guitar noise with like a phaser of some sort and then into a riff. Well, listen a little closer, and there's a didgeridoo at the beginning of this. We know Brandon Boyd likes the didge, likes to rock the didge, but that's at the beginning of the song. So this is their major label release, their first one, and they're starting it out with a didgeridoo. Easy enough for me to say again, didgeridoo. It sounds like you're describing some djent rhythm. Didgeridoo, didgeridoo, didgeridoo. Banana, banana. Shout out to Steve Terberry. All right, next one. This is one of my favorite albums, period. Jimmy Eat World, Bleed American. It's 2001's Bleed American. The song is Bleed American. It starts out full band, 1, 2, 3, 4. I always love that riff, and that's the chorus riff. But the drummer on this part does his snares on the. He's counting the downbeats with the snares, so it's just a little bit different than how the chorus would be because it's more of a straight 2/4 beat in the chorus. But awesome intro to just an awesome riff. It is one of my favorite riffs. Strange that this came out a few days, I think, before 9/11. So they changed the name of the record. I think they just they took the Bleed American off and just named it Jimmy Eat World, but I think they're pressing it now with Bleed American again. But I got the album right away, and then the world changed again, But awesome start to a riff. Awesome start to an album. To one of my favorite albums. Okay, now we're going to another one of my favorite albums. This one's Johnny Cash. This is going to be his last album released when he was still alive. This is American Recordings number 4. I believe the subtitle of it is When the Man Comes Around. The song is When the Man Comes Around. And it's just this whole album is just acoustic. There's not really any drums to the album at all. You know, there's piano and some other, there's strings and whatnot. But this song is just his voice and acoustic guitar. And this sets up the whole album. This is the album where like Hurt came off of, and really completely ushered him back. This album was like on like top whatever rock records of the year and stuff like that. Like at this point, country music completely like disowned Johnny Cash, and country unfortunately has had a track record of doing that with their legacy artists, whereas rock music, the legacy artists are, they're legacy artists. So like the Rolling Stones don't have to put out any more music. Kiss doesn't have to put out any more music. You name it, the bands that are still, performing, they don't have to put out new music. And honestly, people don't want to hear new music from these bands. But at this point, Johnny Cash was kind of a man with no country in a way, because country music wanted to forget him because he was the old guard. Shit, Columbia Records dropped him in 1986. So they dropped Johnny fucking Cash, really? But that's how the kind of roll. As much as I love country music, well, just like in rock music too, the business side is done fucked up sometimes. And that's another thing I won't get to because this is not what I'm talking about today. Anyways, When the Man Comes Around. This is one of my favorite Johnny Cash songs, period. You can hear it in his voice. He's really, I can't remember the year that he passed away, unfortunately, off the top of my head, but it's really soon here. Maybe in the next year, I think. But I know when they shot the video for Hurt, I think he lived about another 6 months, and then that was it on that. But yeah, just acoustic guitar. I don't remember who played the acoustic because he had a bunch of people come in and play the songs with him. But you believe every word he says on this, and it's just him and an acoustic, and it is haunting and beautiful. So, just great. Listen to it. Pull it up on YouTube, whatever. When the Man Comes Around, Johnny Cash. I got nothing more to say about it. There's not more I can say. Okay, another one. I haven't talked about any hip hop at all. I got a small section of hip hop that I like, and this is in it. Ludacris. Chicken and Beer, 2003, Southern Fried Intro. The music is sampled from Isaac Hayes' 1969 release, A Walk On By. They updated it. I don't know if they use exact same sample, but they put newer, updated sounding drums. Guitars are a little different, stuff like that, but it's there, and it is a groove. Right away it comes in. There's like a gospel kind of singing going on, and then he busts into this rhyme and flow that is bonkers, if you will, whatever you want to say. It's tremendous. Yeah, there isn't a time when I'm cycling through my iTunes or whatever, and if this song comes on, I gotta finish it because it's just sick. And I used to actually know all of the words to it, which I used to know a lot of Ludacris. I used to listen a lot more Ludacris than I do now, but he's one of my favorite hip hop artists for sure. I've been a fan of his for a long time. So I don't like a whole lot of hip hop. I think, well, I don't have to get into my personal stuff on hip hop. It's fine. It's no big deal. But look that up. Chicken and Beer. It's a Southern Fried Intro. And I know it says intro, but this song is called the Southern Fried Intro, and it's an actual song. Like there's all sorts of stuff. So that's where I believe in this one intro, the word is just that. It's just a word. So that's why I put it on the list. So it's my list. I can do what I want. I can do what I want. Newfound Glory, Radio Surgery. This one, is not one of their earlier releases where, they had MTV, all sorts of it. But Radio Surgery, 2011, the song is Radio Surgery. I really love this album. I've been a Newfound Glory fan more often than not. There's a couple things in the 2000s that they kind of lost me. Like that's not where my interest lied, but then I've come back to them and those are pretty great records. But this one came out and I love this album. This needs more play, and I know it's almost 10 years old, but I love this album. And if you're into pop punk at all, you should also love this album because it is pop punk to the core. It is what Newfound Glory is, and there's no apologies to it at all. So this song starts out with guitar plugging in, and then the main riff, and then Jordan starts singing a few bars into it. It's just a great song. It has the energy. It's pop punk. Hey, we're Newfound Glory. This is what we fucking do. And here you go. And that's what it is. So how cool is that? Can't get cooler. The next one is Rage Against the Machine. This one will come off of Rage Against the Machine, the self-titled 1992 Bomb track. If you know the song, you know what I'm talking about. That riff, that first riff. I remember sitting and with my first band in my drummer Chris's living room. His stepmom had a nylon string acoustic, and for whatever reason, Chris, he couldn't play guitar, but he knew how to play this riff. He knew how to play the riff. It's the strangest thing, but I still remember how to play it. It's super sick riff. It's the only time you hear that riff on the whole song, but it doesn't matter because it's just awesome. It's just an awesome riff. So go back and listen to it and love it. And even if you don't play guitar, grab a guitar and learn how to play it because it's fucking awesome. So switch gears here just a tick. Something another artist you probably wouldn't think I would talk about, but I'm going to anyways. Sheryl Crow. The Globe Sessions, 1998, My Favorite Mistake. This is one of my favorite songs, period. Doesn't matter if it's Sheryl Crow or Pearl Jam or Rage Against the Machine, whatever it is, this is one of my favorite songs. I actually relatively recently learned how to play this song. I don't really learn other people's songs all that much, but my guitar playing is evolving a bit. So some of these styles of songs, it teaches you, at least for me, it teaches me to not be so heavy-handed because when I play guitar, I went through this before on the show, but like I kick the shit out of the guitar and I'm trying not to do that because I'm starting to have like some more problems with my hands and stuff like that. They're just beat up, dude. So learning to play lighter, learning to play on lighter strings, but learning songs like this actually helps me. So this starts all the great guitar riffs. It's one of my favorite riffs. It sets it up for the rest of the song and the rest of the album. But it's just a great song and a great riff to start. So I love the song. If it's one of my favorite songs and it happens to be the first song on the record, therefore, it's one of my favorite first songs on the record. So there you go. That's math. All right, we're coming towards the end here. Another band that never gets talked about anymore, and I'm actually, judging on how the rest of my albums go, it would be surprising that I actually know this band or like this band, but I really do. They're not the band anymore. They're a new band. Still pretty good though. A Skylit Drive. Skylit Drive. Who? Exactly. A Skylit Drive. They're I don't know. I don't know what the hell you'd call it. I have no idea. I'm not into the subgenres of music per se. But this is off 2009's Adelphia record. It's called Prelude to a Dream. There's a little keyboard pad that starts, and then there's a vocal intro. And it's a very short one. You know, it's only a few seconds long, but it's a great intro to a record. And the guy sings really high, and I have no idea how the hell he sings that high, but he does. But there's this little piece of beautifulness that happens with keyboard, and I felt alive and take me from, and it's like way higher than that, and then all of a sudden it goes into the screamo off time heavy shit part. And it's ridiculous and it's awesome. And that sets up the whole record because they have a lot of play between this really beautiful high singing and then like this really ridiculous screamo stuff. And it's all heavy and it's still super tight somehow. I don't quite understand it. it's not djent, but maybe it's like the precursor to djent. I don't know. I don't really have any idea. But all I know is I enjoy it, and it's a great song, period. And I always forget about it. And shout out to my late friend Ben Bird. He's the one who showed me this band. He said, hey, listen to this band. And it's not typically my jam, but he was actually really good at getting me to listen to albums that, aren't really normally what I'd listen to. So shout out to Ben on that one. But yeah, Skylit Drive, you should listen to it. Look it up on YouTube. I just found it. I just wanted to make sure I had the instrumentation correct in my notes. Okay, and then the last one. I know I've been ranting and raving about beginning songs here. That's the point. So I appreciate you watching, listening, however you're getting this podcast. I definitely appreciate it regardless. But my last one on my list is Sublime, off the self-titled Sublime 1996 Garden Grove. If you're a fan of Sublime, you're already like, yup, I get it. I totally get it. What a groove. You know, you got some ambient keyboard kind of stuff going on. And this song actually kind of comes off like it's definitely like a California sounding record, you know, like something almost like what Dr. Dre would use or do. You know, it has that feeling to it with the keyboard rolls in the song and everything, and then it's got like a dub style bass line to it. So awesome. It's so sick. Just the drum groove alone, and then the music comes in, and then Bradley Nowell starts singing and rapping and doing his shit over it. And it's fucking unreal. That's all I got on that one. It's fucking unreal, right? Well, all right. That's my list. That's my list for the day. I definitely appreciate you taking some time out on your, well, if you're on Twitch here, it's on your out of your Sunday morning. But, you know, whenever you listen to this, I definitely appreciate. So thank you very much for listening. You want to follow the show on social medias and stuff like that. Let's see, on Instagram and Facebook, it's at Podcast My Monitor. If you want to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, it's at The Johnny Ruckus. If you're on the Twitch stream today, you know, you already know where you're at, but twitch.tv/ The Johnny Ruckus. Find me on YouTube. You know, you can put podcast on my monitor, Johnny Ruckus. You'll find it. Just Can I Get More Podcasts on my monitor? So I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, however you do it. You know, there's a bunch of ways to find all sorts of content these days, and it can be confusing. And where do I look? Because it's fucking everywhere, and everybody's got a show. There's over 1 million podcasts in the world. There's over 1 million podcasts in the world. And there's like, what is it? Like over 700 or 800,000 just United States based podcasts. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on here, you know. But I definitely appreciate everybody who has tuned in, however you do it. So I am Johnny Ruckus. This is Can I Get More Podcasts on my monitor? How about we try to be better today than we were yesterday? Across the board, however it is, just try to be that little bit better today than you were yesterday. So I appreciate it, everybody, and have a good rest of the day. Bye now.